more people are coming aware of this. Um, and I was certainly one of them. I had the same 3D life the rest of you had. I was a hospitality executive for longer than I care to admit, had an IT business in the middle of all that. So, I did everything in this 3D experiment like everybody else did until I was called to Shasta. It wasn't on my radar. I'd certainly heard of it. And as much as I like to be outside, you would have thought that I would have sought this out before. The opportunity just hadn't presented itself. And as I said, when I went, it was during COVID. So if you want to, thread in some parallels on why these things happen when they happen, be my guest. It wasn't my first choice. When things were relaxed and we, had the ability to get outside and travel, I was going to head to national parks in the southwestern part of the United States. And when it didn't seem as though maybe those places weren't even open, that's when Shasta was put into my field immediately after that. And I've just followed those impulses ever since. So since then, I've actually, yes, physically visited Telos and communed with the Lemurians. I've had light beings introduced to me the year after that. And then I've had integration things that happened the summer after that have just broadened it all. And because of what's happened, many other people who are having similar circumstances happening to them now, real experiencers having real contact, they just kind of showing up. And I believe it's because we're that close to Earth's consciousness rising. And when hers does, the opportunity for every other sentient being to make that choice presents itself as well. So right now, those of us that are sharing these experiences are meant for people to understand the harmonics between you and the rest of the universe. Get in touch with your frequency. And, we've spent a lot of time over decades now talking about the healing process. Well, here's what I'm here to tell you. As of really the middle of February, we're done with that process. Those of us who are capable of healing ourselves, we're done. We've healed ourselves. We understand how our chakras function. We understand how to create our own alignment. And thus, we can really control our vibration. And there's an internal barometer inside of us that tells us when our vibration is low and when our vibration is high, and what the differences between them are. Once you have some awareness of your own space, now you see how that integrates with the things around you. When we begin to sense this change that's going on around us and in the earth, we want our vibration to match. We know it has to rise. So the healing part, we're done healing. Now we're on to transformation. We know we carry light, and we know now what we're supposed to do with it. If we're a light worker at all, we know it's our job to plant light everywhere we go and assist in that process.
Beautiful.
That's what I'm here to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's thank you for sharing all of that.
Yeah, dude, that's 4 years of information in like 4 minutes. We can dissect all that, and there are pieces of it that I had to understand myself fundamentally. I'm a Capricorn, so due diligence and research, that's my nature. And to tell you that I've done it to understand this multidimensional world that we live in and we all experience, it's just a matter of whether you're paying attention or not. I invite you to open your eyes and see what's out here because one, it's magnificent. Two, we're moving into the space where this idea that we're all connected to one another and that the law of one prevails. This is the next dimension we're stepping into. And many of us have been straddling these dimensions for a while now. I step into the next dimension and beyond that so that I can come back and intelligently speak about what I've experienced there. But something happened in the last several weeks where what I've been able to experience in other realms when I'm out in nature and it's quiet and peaceful and serene and I'm connected at that level, and then what you actually get to see and experience in higher realms, that's happening in denser areas. And the first few times it happened, it freaked me out a little bit because historically, the vibration has got to be right in this area for me to experience those things beyond it. There can't be any third dimensional white noise going on. It's just a distraction. Well, the distractions are still there. I'm hearing them in places I'm staying, and this isn't typical. It should tell you that's how thin the veil is becoming, because even in these denser areas, that kind of light information is getting through. And those of us that have the ability to reach into, higher realms of our own aspects and the next dimension that's all around us that we see when we're in alignment, that stuff's happening in denser areas.
I would concur based on my own experiences. And I wanna circle back because in terms of, like, you said that each year has been like a new level of kind of multi-dimensional awareness and awakening. It does seem that that is part of the process, let's say, of ascension, that we go through these kind of initiation cycles and activations. Now, I have my own stories to tell, which are, um, seem like fairy tales, and um, will obviously speak to those who have the ears to hear them, and that will also then it becomes an activation for them. So what I experienced when first listening to your interview about your journey to Telos, that for me was a consciousness activation. And so it's like I get the sense that when we tell these stories, we expand the boundaries of what is seen as the possible, and our perception can kind of integrate as the possible, and this becomes this consciousness activation where we access other realms, we activate our multi-sensory abilities in new ways. And so that happened for me in hearing your interview. And that's also why I want to touch on the specifics also of what happened. Because
And we will.
I would like that activation, not again for me personally, but for anyone who comes in and watches this, because you have such a coherence about you. There's nothing kind of fluffy woo-woo out there, crazy about you as a personality, let's say, like as a human being, right? So, and I feel is also part of the activation, because you are so kind of grounded and um developed in a worldly way as a personality, as a human, that that you had this experience that is just so next level, that bridges something. It creates some kind of binding. It's the best way I can describe it. That is for the benefit of all.
I love to hear you say that. I came to that conclusion that I serve as a connector, I serve as an activator. And so when you finally articulated what I came to understand, it's why I'm here. It's why, I understand I've ascended. I can speak intelligently about the things on the other side and come back and report them. But I'm just like the rest of you. I
Mm,
came up in a 3D world. So, it's interesting you say that. A few years back, when, I could look at the situation I was going through objectively, look at it as an observer and see how you would react, Lowell. And I kept concluding that if a guy like Lowell was having these experiences and explaining them that way, would he be believable? And the answer to me was, hell yeah, this guy sounds authentic. As time went on, I began to understand my connection with higher aspects because I was starting to expound some profound things that certainly didn't come within my little Akashic records.